Hello YouTube family, Greg D here with another Golf R video. Now I know I said that I needed to get a better like suction cup angle, whatever. I've got like a clip in the vents, but the vents are a lot lower on this car than they are in the Mark 7 GTI. So I've had this car now for a week. So I just kind of wanted to make this video to give my updated sort of impressions on the car itself. I still freaking love this car. This car is amazing. I know I repeated myself a lot in the last video where I said that the video was sick, or the car was sick, I should say. And I didn't want to do that again, but my opinion of this car has not changed over the last month. This car just keeps getting better and better, honestly, the more that I drive it. It is so much fun. This thing is a looker, number one. I get a lot of attention so far, and I think that's partially because there's not a lot in my area. I understand that they're still fairly new, but according to my salesman, there's only about 20 or so new Golf Rs in the greater Pittsburgh area, so I don't really see them a lot. I've been seeing a lot of Mark 7s a lot lately, Mark 7 Rs, but this car is definitely a looker. I like the fact that it is like a suit and tie version, basically, of a Civic Type R. Now, obviously, a Civic Type R is very polarizing, and you either love it or you hate it. I worked at Honda for a while, so I did like the Honda Civic Type R to an extent, but I like this one so much more because you can daily it, you can kind of blend in, you don't attract the wrong kind of attention, let's put it that way, but you can also still be a total hooligan in this car, and it's so much fun to have that kind of dual personality of, you know, you can be docile, you blend in, you can kind of go from A to B however comfortable you want to go, or you can take it to the track if you really want to. And this thing, compared to the Mark 7 GTI that I had, which was stage 2, this thing, again, is just as fast, if not faster, than that car. At least it feels that way from a torque aspect. I love the new all-wheel drive system in this thing. You can constantly, and I know I had mentioned this in my last video too, I love the all-wheel drive system. I love how feeling that rotation of the rear end into corners where the car just rotates and you're able to just kind of stay in line. You don't have that feeling in a front-wheel drive GTI whatsoever. So the handling is top-notch in this car by all means, and I'm sure that, you know, part of that is the sticky summer tires too, which probably that'll be the first mod that I do to this car, honestly, is get a set of tires, whether that be a set of winter tires so that I can just switch them summer tires, winter tires, or a really good set of all-season tires. I haven't made up my mind one way or the other yet what I want to do as far as the tires, but I know that that's probably the first thing that I will do to the car. There's not much, obviously, at least here in the United States, there's not much in regarding to tuning that you can do yet. No one's actually broken the ECU tune yet. There's a couple of intakes. There's an exhaust or two, which I don't really want the exhaust. It's like $2,300. I don't want to spend that much on an exhaust just yet. And the intakes really don't tickle my fancy yet, because most of them are just like the front end of the air intake system, the air induction. I want like the full thing from the turbo to the front of the car. So yeah, the technology, I guess, is the big question here too for a lot of folks. As long as you use your wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, it's fine. It's really not that bad. It's really, really not that bad. Using your phone to basically pull up on the infotainment screen, so it's basically like you just have a bigger screen for your phone, eliminates 90 to 95% of everybody's issues with the infotainment itself. Yes, I wish they would have done like what Honda did. Like Honda had, you know, they went to like a full touchscreen thing, but then originally they brought back the knob for like a tuning knob, volume knob for the radio, and then they brought back some of the HVAC controls. Those are really the only knobs I think that most people will need or should need on a constant basis, and I wish Volkswagen would have at least left those. Everything else is fine though. The haptic buttons don't bother me whatsoever. They've actually got a really nice feel to them. Getting the smudges on them is kind of annoying, but again, as I mentioned in the previous Golf R video, that's an easy fix. That's not really that big of a deal. They get, like I said, they have a nice feel to them, and a tuning knob, like maybe a couple of HVAC controls, kind of like how the Audi S3 has them. You know, the Audi S3 went to like the minimalist interior, but they still have buttons for like the HVAC stuff. So Volkswagen, use Audi's layout. That's what you need to do. As the thing comes on there, as like, you know, the Hey Volkswagen thing. Which that's kind of funny because that's the first time it's ever done that. But, you know, this car is simply amazing. It looks good. It performs well. I haven't had, knock on something, I haven't had any issues. There's been some issues with like coolant lines leaking and, you know, radiators falling out. I've heard of that. So there's been some issues there, and luckily I haven't had any of those yet. Knock on something. The biggest thing that I will say, coming from a Mark 6 GTI, a Mark 7 GTI, if you are someone who is on the fence, if you are looking to possibly either buy a new GTI or Golf R and you're kind of on the fence, if you can't afford it, if you can do it, spend the extra few $1,000s and get yourself the Golf R. I can say now at this point that this car, being my dream car for 10 years, was worth the wait. I put myself on a waiting list back in December. An allocation was sold to me. This car as an allocation was sold to me in February. I finally picked it up, obviously last week. It was worth the 6-month wait. This car, like Humble Mechanic says in his video, this car out of the box is amazing. This car is so good. The only other thing nitpicky wise, which I can probably mention in another video that I just thought of, is I wish they would have blacked out the mirror caps. They're silver for no matter what color you get. Black out the mirror caps, and I wish they would have made the whole roof black. Honestly, those are the only things that I can think of. The tech in here is great. Coming from a base model GTI, I didn't have a good radio. I didn't have a heads-up display. Little things like that I know are like, maybe like, you know, for some people. But to me, that's awesome. I love having that because I'm like, ooh, that's so neat. I haven't had a sunroof in a car for a very long time. I've never had blind spot monitoring before. Like little things like this are just things that I'm just like, oh my God, that's so cool to have. Like you would never think about it. I would never think about that buying a car. And now that I have them, I'm like, this is totally awesome. Another thing that we should mention too is the Harman Kardon system. I know a lot of people have been ripping that up to shreds too. As far as that, coming from a base sound system, this sounds fine. This sounds way better. Yes, you need to like fiddle with the equalizer a little bit because it might not be as bassy as like the Fender system was, for example. But overall, this system is definitely an upgrade from the base model system. Now, again, the interior is great. I love, you know, and there's another thing that I love, and that's the ventilated seats. No, it's not like blowing out air conditioning through the seat, but it's enough like air circulation where you can actually feel it and you're like, oh, that's kind of nice. My butt is cool. So, yeah, overall, this is definitely like a hooligan in a suit and tie. You are someone like me who has tattoos, who likes to, you know, party sometimes, but you also have a 9-to-5 job to work. You know, you also have to kind of be a productive member of society sometimes. So it's a dual personality, but it's the best of both worlds because you can be that straight edge, you can be a little bit of a hooligan, and it's awesome. And again, like I said, if you are someone who is on the fence about whether you should buy a Golf R or like a GTI Autobahn, for example, which is the highest trim in the newest GTI, do yourself a favor. As long as you're not paying like some crazy huge markup from a dealership, if you can get one that's like at MSRP or close, do yourself a favor, get the Golf R. You will not regret the fact that you got the Golf R over the GTI. I am telling you from 100% experience, it was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. So I still am in love with this car. Yes, I'm still in that honeymoon phase, but overall, I still love this thing, and I couldn't be happier. And I cannot wait to modify this thing via performance, via some looks, you know, get the windows tinted, maybe do some wheels, maybe obviously do intake downpipe tune when that becomes available. But I can't wait, and I hope to take you along with that journey. So with that being said, guys, that's all I got for right now. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more. And until next time, see you soon.